Hello everybody, welcome back to another episode of Grim Dawn, episode 2 in our series. And we're going to be teaching you some more stuff about the game today. So we'll start off with the current inventory that we've got. We'll look at some skills here in a second as well. But it's a YouTube video. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe your heart out. And then since we're on to another set of quests, we're going to start digging through the town. Now, we're going to find out about our second class today in this video. We're going to maybe decide a little bit further down the build path how far we want to go, and then I'll show you some other basic mechanics going on, hopefully some hidden areas as well, stuff that you're going to have trouble finding if you're not looking for it, and so on and so forth. Now, as far as what's going on in Devil's Crossing right now, since we have completed the first quest, that is going to let the town open up. Before you get to this point, you can't actually go through the gates of Devil's Crossing because it's locked until you complete this first quest. That being said, you still have access to this vendor, the salvage dealer, at the beginning, so we're just going to toss a bunch of our useless items. And then remember, there are tabs just above all of the shop items that'll let you cycle through the melee weapons, ranged weapons, armor, trinkets, and then your buyback option. So right now you're just seeing me cycle through all of my gear. Hold on to that salt bag that you have around your neck by default. That is going to be something that you want to hold on to for a secret quest later in the game, which is pretty important, so don't sell that, whatever you do. We're also digging through the salvage vendor's items right now just to make sure we've got the best that we can do with the money that we've got. Unfortunately, this early on in the game, you don't have a whole lot of money to work with, so you're just doing what you can. Sybil is going to give us our first side quest to find her brother Milton out in the wastes of the New World. Hopefully he hasn't turned into a zombie, but he probably has. We've got the chef, in case we need to get our constitution and health back up. We've got random NPCs being dicks to us, because that's a thing that they will always do. This is the Illusionist. We'll talk more about that in the next video, but you can see all of the transmogs available for all of our items. And it does cost money, so early on in the game, when you're switching out gear a lot, it's probably not the most efficient use of your iron. That's the currency in this game, but also the quartermaster, that person that we just spoke to, is the faction shop for the town. There's one in every big town, and they all have you have to reach a specific faction level, and then they will open up different options to you in their shops, which are full of really good items. They range from green to blue. There are some really, really good things in there, including recipes that you'll need, but more on that later. And then the spirit guide here, this is how you are going to, you're going to spend money basically to refund your points and put them in new abilities if you want to change your build up later on, or you've made a decision to change stuff out. Constance doesn't really want to talk to us here because we don't get any side quests from her just yet. And then finally, there is the Smuggler, who is your stash guy. So any monster infrequents or rarer items, we're going to pick up and stick in the Smuggler's box. And this is shared. There is a tab to share across all of your characters. So there you go. And at that point over there, once we get the blacksmith unlocked, that's where he'll go. But this is the bounty table for upping your faction reputation. That's it, reputation. So you can do side quests to up the amount of reputation that you have with any faction. There will be one of those bounty tables at every stage of the game where there is a big town for farming reputation, which you will need to do later on in the end game to unlock bonuses with the quartermaster, bonuses with the town, all sorts of stuff. But again, we'll talk about that as we progress through the game and that sort of stuff. Kasparov, this is ultimately where you're going to get the side quest mission for Hargate's Isle later on in the game, but he also gives you an attribute point for giving him some crystals, so you'll get a bonus skill point, as you can see down there, to put into an ability. Pretty handy. Barnabas here is going to give you the first real side quest that you can do, or no, it's going to give you your next main quest. So you have to first collect 5 scrap for Barnabas. For the sake of time, I'm going to cheat because I've done this literally billions of times, and we're going to go into the shared stash for all of my characters. You can see I dump all of my materials into one box here, and we're going to just take out 5 of the thousands of scrap that I have. So we're going to go give that to Barnabas and then unlock the next quest. If you're obviously, if you're just playing this game for the first time, you're going to have to go out into the world. You can find a lot of scrap in the old dump, and you'll find that just past Burial Hill. You can find it on the map. It's pretty easy. Big XP boost from getting the scrap turned in, and then Barnabas is going to give us a key to go down into the cellar underneath the prison to continue cleaning out the slits so the people of Devil's Crossing have some drinking water. Oof. Oh, man, excuse me. You'd think I just drank some of the toxic water. But we're underneath the prison at the moment. I kind of want to hang on to some of these points. I'm not real sure what to do with them just yet because we're still fleshing out our build. Haven't decided as of yet. And we still have to get to level 10 before we can even pick the class. So I don't know if I'm going to go super hard on a complex class. And I do have a lot already, so I'm probably going to go for one that I haven't done yet. But we'll figure that out as we get into it. I also attached, also attached a Searing Ember to my current shield, so that's why we've got the Fire Blast and the Icicle for our kind of projectile abilities, along with the Force Wave. So that's why we're shooting fireballs and icicles on top of all the physical damage that's shooting out of our fingertips. But there you have it. I 100% believe that you can get to level 10 just using components. So remember that if you're ever having trouble deciding on what you want to play. This is a secret area in the basement. You're not going to be able to see this unless you know it's here, or you flip the map in this direction, or you flip the camera. The camera can be changed. I don't know necessarily how that's going to work on the Xbox version of this game, but the camera keys to change direction are the arrow keys next to your right shift button, the left and right. And then if you do flip the camera and you don't actually want it to be in this position anymore, just remember in the mini-map, the top right, the compass up there, as long as north is pointed directly upward, your camera will be at the default position. So we got a cool new shield. We're going to go ahead and equip that instead, and then we're going to flip the camera back and run along. Those big chests, the one that we found in the hidden area over there, are full of goodie stuff. So rarer than normal, very useful. Try to find as many big ones as you can as I just burp inside my brain. Kicking down the door, killing zombies, throwing icicles, shooting fire, and slapping people with the arm of a dead monster. I mean, all par for the course for Grim Dawn. It's gritty, it's dark, it's apocalyptic. We're level 8. Still got 2 levels to go before we can decide on that next class, so it's going to take a little bit longer, I think. Still having some frame rate issues. I think we fixed the big stutters, but it still feels a little bit slow to me, so I may have to go in there and tweak those settings some more, which is unfortunate. But that's fine. We'll deal with that in the next episode. At least it's running a little bit smoother now. If you're an arachnophobic, this is your warning. There are huge spiders in this game, and they're animated really well, so it feels like they'll crawl inside my nose in my worst nightmares. Because that's what everybody needs when they go to sleep at night. You're welcome. Now, the basement... we're trying to clear out as much as we can, but this is as good a time as any to talk about the loot filter. You can see here, it is, well, again, I don't know how this is going to work on the Xbox version, but this filter should pop up. This will let you filter items by rarity, by how they affect your class and your masteries, which are your abilities, and then the damage types, which we'll talk about in the next episode as we get there, but you can actually force the world to only show you what you specifically want as far as your class goes. Doing it early on in the game is going to probably hamper some of your creativity in terms of your initial build. So I'd suggest when you're playing, at least the first time around, hold off on filtering all of the items, because sometimes picking up items will kind of influence how you want to play your character. So maybe you pick up a really cool fire item, or you pick up a really cool like ether item, and suddenly like, oh, that's how I actually want to play this character. Unless you're playing the game, the second, third, the 1000th time around, and you know exactly what you want to do, keep the loot filter pretty open while you're deciding. The other thing would be to turn off the white and yellow, which are the common and the magic items early on. I'd say at least at this point in the game, when you're going down underneath the prison, you can turn those off, because really all you want to start picking up is green items, because you can buy a lot of decent yellow items from the vendors, and they're not super expensive. So you can get a lot of just kind of easy gear from the shops, while you find the green gear throughout the game. You've got a slith necklace. Purple, those light purple items are going to be crafting materials or story materials, just stuff that you pick up for different side quests. But there's lots of different ones, and a lot of them are monster-specific drops, but things like scrap will drop from literally anything. It just depends on how the game is ready to give that stuff to you. Now, at this point in the game, we are following down the cave path underneath the basement. So there's a cave full of water under the prison basement, and there's a boss at the end, which is just a huge slith. I think it's a lady. I want to say Vyloth is a lady. I could be wrong, but it's another basically boss fight, so it's going to take us a little while. We want to clear out all the mobs so they don't interrupt us while we're fighting, and then go deal with that. Ooh, another lodestone. Tomes of Mending are going to be your health pots. Same with the, I think it's Tome of Knowledge. Those are your mana pots, your energy pots. And there is Vyloth the Corrupter. Let's just see how much damage we're doing. Not a whole lot with our autos, doing most of our damage with our abilities, which is to be expected. Gonna pick up some iron, open the chest in the middle of a fight like a badass, and then keep throwing ranged abilities, trying to dodge all the stuff that Vyloth is dropping on the ground while weaving in a few autos. You can see the amount of energy that we're just hemorrhaging when using this this kind of ability-based style. So the components for this game will just eat your energy, because all of the, most of the component abilities that you get are spammable, and you can just throw them, which is another reason I think it's completely possible to get to level 10 without actually picking a first class, let alone a second class, that you get at level 10, and just using component abilities. I mean, it really is just that simple. We got Vyloth's Ring. That is going to be a monster infrequent. Can't use it until we're level 9, and we are very close to level 9. Let me tell you. Let's open up this devotion shrine. We'll give it a crystal since it's a ruined shrine. Ooh, some molten walkers. Nice. And it gave us enough XP to bump us up to level 9, too. Heck yeah. We can't use the molten walkers until level 14. I think most blue items can't be used until level 14. So that's a little bit unfortunate, but molten walkers have a cool passive in which they will... I think it's you spew fire damage when you get hit or when you're attacking. Like, there's a percentage chance that you get to dump fire all over the ground. And now we can use Vyloth's Ring. We'll stick a frozen heart on there as well to get some more tankiness, get some health, get some resistances on top of that. Vyloth's Ring, being that it is a monster infrequent, has some decent passives on it too. The other thing about blue items, epic items, is that a lot of them will have passive abilities or very big stat increases, or they sometimes have active abilities. So you can even get active abilities from items. So you can do it from components, you can do it from items, you can do it from your class, you can do it from so many things in Grim Dawn. You actually have two action bars to use multiple abilities. So I don't usually go that far with it. I'll have one action bar for, items or abilities that I need to use actively, and then I'll have the other action bar set up for all of my passive abilities. But if you wanted to, you could have 2 full bars of nothing but active abilities, and just be ripping huge button combinations all over the place. But since we've turned in the item quest we've turned in the quest to Barnabas, Barnabas is going to give you it's just a bag, but what it does is unlocks this entire new tab of inventory for you, and then throughout the game, you're going to get 4 more of these, which is a very, very big item, or it's an inventory upgrade. So you're going to get tons of those. Lots of space. If you're anything like me and you constantly need organization in your life, they will be really helpful. So we're just going to sell off all of our stuff, stick all our components in our extra slot with stuff that isn't really going to be sellable, but yeah. Stuff that's important, but it's not going to do us a whole lot of good. Wow. What is this? It's happening again, isn't it? It is chugging. The game is just slowing down. This is me tabbed out of the game, actually. So apologies. I had to look at the timer on the video. But we do want to get to level 10. I don't want to leave you guys hanging. I know it's taken a little while. I thought we were going to hit 10 a lot earlier, but we are actually a lot further away than I thought. So we're going to hit 10. We're going to pick our second class, and then we're going to decide how this game will go down for the foreseeable future. What is going on with the frame rate? Why is it so bad? I wonder if it's because I tabbed out. Tabbed out and tagged back in. Honestly, up until I started recording these videos, Grim Dawn was running fine. Maybe I need to deal with those a little bit more. Again, apologies. I don't know why it's doing this. I'll have to go in, twist some settings, tweak some knobs, do some stuff. But we're about 55% of the way to the level 10, so we can pick up our second class. I think I know what I'm going to pick at this moment, because it is one that I haven't done just yet, but it is kind of basic, which is a little bit unfortunate. But this will be a class, if you are playing on the PC, you can just get with a base game. You don't even have to have the expansions to do. So, come on, level 10. The good news is, since we are still pre-level 10, all of the enemies that we're running into are going to give us a rather large chunk of XP, so we don't have to worry too much. This is the old dump also, by the way, so if you need more scrap for your questing, this is the place that you're going to get it, and it is super, super helpful to find scrap in, which is why the game just forces you to go here. There's also a little nook full of this is a house, not the nook I was mentioning, but there's a little cave that has a unique boss in it, as well as a big stash, so you can find some pretty cool rare items down there. This is Vyloth the Rotted, though. He is always going to be in this house for this quest that you get from Harmond. But yeah, he is one of 3 dudes that you need to kill. Easy enough to kill if you're leveled up far enough. Jesus, we're still not level 10. Okay. Still killing bugs. Just trying to bridge the gap. I can't believe it's taking this long. But Pharos, Gilius, and Negan will always be in the same 3 spots. And then Gilius, the Decayed, the second person in this quest line, is always right next to Milton Hart. So you can knock those 2 out in that quest line at the same time. So just remember that if you run into one, you're always going to run into the other. Super easy to get both those quests out of the way, which are big chunks of XP. Oh, just running down the road looking for enemies, watching the frame rate drop again. What the hell? And it's not the zoom on the camera, because we've zoomed out now. Maybe it is partially that, but I wonder if it's OBS in the background. I did shut down everything going on in the background with the exception of OBS, so maybe that's got something to do with it. Maybe I just need to restart and update my computer. Finally, we actually found a monster shrine. So these are shrines that will drop rare monsters, and then once you defeat all the monsters, you will have the shrine drop you some rare items as well, as long as you don't not finish it. These came out in a fairly recent update for Grim Dawn, but these will definitely be in the definitive edition. They are all sorts of different kinds. That one particularly was a beast. And we're going to take Demolitionist as the second class for our build, which is going to make us a commando. Soldier Demolitionist equals commando. So we're going to end up, I think we're going to end up doing a lot of internal trauma damage coupled with fire damage, fire and burn. So that being said, it should be a rather tanky class. We'll still have a shield. We'll end up using a gun instead of a one-handed weapon, but it is going to be super fun. Now, all that being said, that is going to do it for this video. I'll see you guys next time around. I'll try to update the build, the items, and actually our look, too, because we're looking kind of frumpy, just to streamline the videos a bit more, make them more interesting. But, yeah. So, that being said, I will see you dudes there. Again, feel free to like, comment, subscribe your heart out. Let me know how these are going, and, well, peace out.